That's really our commitment. So welcome everyone. So just to start with, I think before we go into the chapter, so we always like to hear from you, and that's really one of the reasons why we do this every week, every Thursday to connect live, because obviously, we have done many times the review of the book, and obviously we have some recordings, right? But we don't just want to put the recordings that we really want to connect, and we really want to hear from you and have the chance to, I don't know, answer questions. But obviously, one of the things that we just love is wins. So we would like to start with that. So if you want to share any wins, please just wave at us, or you can write it in the chat, or just in Zoom in the app, you can just raise your hand. So that would be great if we start with wins. All right, I'd love it. So I think I just see Inger, Al, and Corey. So let's go with you, Inger. So anyways, you'd like to share.
And
Yes,
just as we get there, I just want to make sure we say hello to everyone joining us on Facebook now. And you can go ahead, and if you're on Facebook, you just go ahead and type that in this chat. And I think Camilo will monitor what's going on there. So, all right, Inger, you're off.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. I'm gonna go to the Gran Canaria Island on Saturday for a week of holiday. So it's been, and it's only costing me 50 quid.
Oh, wow.
Return ticket.
That's amazing. Well done. Yeah. Oh my God. I think Tracy is already aligned with your win, Inger. I can see that beautiful beach just behind Tracy. So congratulations.
Yeah, Tracy is there.
Beautiful. Well done. Well done. And thanks for sharing. Inger. So all right. So let's go with you. Al, any wins you'd like to share?
Oh, I didn't mean to raise my hand if I did. I guess I will be getting through the next couple of days here, and I think it's Hurricane Delta. I'm hoping that'll calm down a little bit, and over the next few hours. But I guess it's kind of an anticipated win. Maybe we could call it that. But it is good to be here.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Al, and thanks for being here at the call. And excuse me, that was probably a misperception. I might be a little bit in the red zone. I promise that I'm gonna get better this morning. But thank you, Al. Corey, let's hear from you. Any wins you'd like to share?
Yes, my win is that I realized earlier today that I was sitting in some charge. I actually read the red zone, bit about the red zone, and I realized I was sitting in some charge. So I used a charge handling process, which was very good, and got me out of there, and I got to see a lot of different things running. Also, I trained outside 6:30 in the morning. It was cold, it was wet, and not very comfortable, but I did it. And also, I've been offered a sales position, which is part-time, which means that I can spend the rest of my time
Beautiful. Thank you, Corey. Yes, Jeff, you want to say something?
I was going to say congratulations, and I think I saw Tracy have her hand up as well. So Tracy, we will go to you next.
Yeah, thank you. A lot of things have been going very well, and I notice the more closely I stick to this work, the better they go in the green zone, I guess. And this last week, I got a new teammate, mentee, I guess. I help people establish digital business or digital marketing business. So new clients are appearing out of the woodwork, and I like that. And as to my background, I met with Inger this morning, and she really liked this one. So this is in her honor.
Great job, Inger. Great job, Tracy, and thanks so much for sharing. So that's beautiful. Anyone else? Any other wins? I see Diego, welcome. Georgette, Juan Carlos, thank you for being here. Solomon, so just if you want to share something, you can unmute yourself and just share it in the chat. So that would be great as well. And so one of the things that I would say, just yes, Georgette, you want to share, please? Can you hear us? Hi, Georgette. Yes, we can we can hear something, but not quite. I don't know if it's a little bit of static. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Yes, yes. We can
Hey.
hear you now.
I can hear you and speak to you, but I don't have a camera, so I see you, but you don't see me today. Hello.
That's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
We can hear you loud and clear. So you're Jet. Thank you for being here. Any wins you would like to share?
This is the first time I've sat in on your group. If I did, it may have been years ago. So I'm just here to see what you do.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for connecting, and thanks for sharing. Welcome. Yeah. All right.
you.
So yeah, you're welcome. Very, very welcome. So just one thing, and Jeff and I, we were chatting a little bit just before the call and talking about the red zone. So one of the first things that I would like to say is, so it's not about like good or bad, like the green is a good or the red zone is a bad, you know, it's really part of life. And so there's obviously, if you read the chapter 16, there's like 44 different indicators when someone is in the red zone, right? Like 44. But we really want to talk like, you know, like 3 of the most common. When someone is trapped in the red zone, usually one of the most common ones, it could be lack of knowledge, right? Like certain, like ignorance in a subject or in a role or position. There's that lack of information, that lack of knowledge. The other thing that is really common for someone to be trapped continuously in the red zone, it could be the lack of ability or competence. Have some information about it, or have heard about something, like Alan would say, so oncer, right? But they don't have really the ability to apply, implement, and get a good quality result. And then there's the other thing. It's like when someone is really trapped there, well, probably something happened, you know, sometime, meaning a paradigm crash or a shock that really trapped a lot of life force particles. And then obviously that person is not longer functioning correctly, right? So there's many reasons and different combinations, but so that's one of the things that I've seen like really common. And that's something that I really asked myself when I found myself like in the red zone chronically. It's like, well, there's probably something I don't know in this game or in this area or in this position, or there's probably an ability that I'm not quite really developed yet, or definitely something happened, you know, that really trapped a lot of life force particles, and I really need to handle that. But Jeff, anything else you'd like to say on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really great what you said there, Raul. So then the question is, how do we use these 44 points? Do we use this to look at the lives of our friends and family and make them wrong for being in the red zone and criticizing them and say, ha ha, you have no time, so I know you are in the red zone, right? No, unless we want to be abusive. Like, that would be one way to handle it. But we can use these as indicators in our own life, just like Raul said. And then if we spot that, say, okay, what is it that I don't know about that area, right? Or how long have I been feeling this way? Find that paradigm crash, or find that shock, or find, you know, what Alan says in this chapter is a false truth, which is the deadliest form of unknown, which is what you believe to be true, but turns out is not true. So we can use these as indicators or signposts, and they're not, signposts aren't right or wrong. They're just signposts, right? If you want to be heading north, you follow the signs north. If you want to head south, you follow those signposts. So these are just signposts that says, hey, there's an area of untruth, or an area of unknown, or an area of a paradigm crash. And the more we can recognize that, spot that, we can use that to actually grow and become better. Or to say, hey, we're veering off course. Let's follow the signpost and get back on course. And then in the next couple chapters, really in 2 weeks, we'll talk more about, you know, we'll go into more what those signposts are that you're on the right track to keep going. This is a signpost that says, hey, we're off track. Something's not right here. And let's recognize it. And the quicker we are honest with it, the quicker we recognize it. And the quicker we recognize it, We can do what Corey gave us the great example of today, which is spotting an area that's not right. In his case, you share an area of charge, handle it, and then you get right back on track. Because this isn't rightness or this isn't wrongness. This is just, it is what it is. So the question is, what the heck is it?
I love it. I love it, Jeff. And it's life, right? Because life is really, it's really a dynamic process. So it's not stopped. It's not, like static, right? It's life. So going through the zones, it's dynamic too. Like you're not just the more you grow, you're gonna also go back again towards a bigger area of red zone, and then you master that, and then you go up again. Actually, let me just show something, because I had a diagram that I prepared just to illustrate that, because I love what you just mentioned, Jeff, that it's not about right or wrong. I mean, it's just it is a process of getting better. It is a process of really expanding until you really reach mastery in a subject. Like, for example, let's talk about sales, right? So here I am, and I want to learn about sales today, but I'm really shy. I don't know how to communicate. I have a bunch of precepts about sales, and I've never done a cold call in my life. I've never prospected, so I'm really staring in the red zone, right? But if I stay on it, and I really find, well, I don't know, those things that I don't know about sales, and I really start to get better, probably, and in a month or in a couple of months, probably I'm gonna be at least in the yellow, right? If I stay on it with my training and getting the knowledge and really practicing and really in that process until I'm at least able to connect with people and make a call. Usually, or sometimes I would sell something. And if I stay in that process, then, I'm gonna be able to be a decent salesman or a green zone salesman. But then if I master that, and if I'm a really great salesman and someone offers me, oh, Raul, you're so great salesman now, so we want you to be the manager, sales manager, right? So, okay, I'm really good at that point in sales, but not because I'm really good in sales, that doesn't guarantee that I'm gonna be a great sales manager. So now, even though I've mastered sales, now I'm in that bigger game, trying to be now the sales manager, but I'm not really good in leadership. I've been working more just myself and not really including others. So I'm starting in the red one, right? And if I stay really in that process, developing the abilities and getting the knowledge, well, I'm doing a decent job, as a sales manager. Probably if I stay on the process, I become the best sales manager on the nation. And at that point, probably I'm going to be thinking, you know what? It's probably time for me to have my own business, right? And then, so I go again into a bigger red zone because, okay, I have experience as a sales manager and salesman, but I don't know a lot about owning my own business. So it's dynamic. It's not so really the point that I want to make here is not something to resist. I don't think there's nothing bad of being in the red zone, but you choose how long you want to stay there. So I don't know. So Jeff, anything else you'd like to share on this? And also we're going to open it up later for comments. I think you're mute.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah. Let me fix that. So I think there's a lecture in one of the, on one of our vital fundamentals of life processing courses, actually number 3, called what turns on when moving up the zones. Right, and Raul will just give a great example of that. But I almost think of like the idea. I always think it almost seems counterintuitive at first, or it did very much seem counterintuitive to me at first. And it's that idea of moving up to the red zone, right? It's like getting promoted to the red zone, right? Because at least I don't know if you guys are like me, but at the beginning, it was like what Raul was telling us isn't true.
Yeah.
But that was very much how, and I very much liked being in the green zone, which meant, like the areas I was good at, I liked to stay in those areas. But it also meant if it was almost like addicted to the green zone, which meant that the areas I was red zone in, I wasn't necessarily willing to go into and willing to sort out those wrong ideas and that stupidity and that confusion and those precepts and deal with the fear and deal with the anxiety. I always prefer just to stay in my little green zone cocoon, and life was great in that area. But it was great, but it was also very limiting as well. So I love the idea of almost promoting yourself up to the green, or promoting yourself up to the red zone, or moving up to the red zone, because that's something over the last, I don't know, 3 to 5 years I've really had to embrace, is actively search out the red zone more, actively be willing to go into it. And, you know, we changed a bunch of things about how we were running the company, and specifically my role in it the last 3 to 6 months. And I was very much in the red zone of a lot of those areas, and really had to sort through it. And what I felt in the red zone was overwhelmed, confused. I was working a lot harder than I needed to, you know, because like when you're in a new area, you're trying to find out what works and what doesn't work and how it fits in. And anyway, it just almost had to just like embrace it, be one with it. And one of the lectures, Alan says, you know, he learned to love the red zone and just go through it. And I don't know if I've gotten up to loving the red zone, but I'm willing to embrace the red zone. I think that's about as high as my mood level gets on it. But I'm willing to embrace it now, and willing to appreciate it. And what I can appreciate and embrace about it is pretty much that as I go through it, I know I can get through it now. And, you know, it's just like, okay, I'm going through it, not because I love the red zone, but because I love what comes after the red zone, which is the yellow, which I love slightly more than the red, and then the green. Obviously, I love more of both of those. Yeah, and I think, Inger, thanks for your comment right there, but moving up to the red zone. And that's the lecture, I just looked it up. It's on VF3. It's called What Turns On When Moving Up the Zones. But really what I always think of it is moving up to the red zone, and maybe a bulletin around that. But moving up to the red zone. And it's just a totally different way to think about it. But Raul's image right there really showed us exactly that, you know, promoting ourselves up to the red zone.
Beautiful.
Oh, go ahead, Raul.
Yes,
Go.
thanks a lot, Jeff. It also talks about being promoting yourself to the red zone in the Paradigm Matrix book. There's a few diagrams in there about how you grow bigger, and as you grow bigger, you move into red zoneness and into larger red zonenesses. So it's just a process of life, like Raul illustrated, and I've gotten more comfortable being in red zone. And I know that if I keep on, then like you, Jeff, I can get through it into the green zone. So it is really about stepping out of the comfort zone and going into the red zone.
We could be in the red zone together there, Corey. Isn't that great?
I'm considering joining you, but I'm still in the process of processing the idea.
Yeah, and specifically that chapter, or one of the chapters you may be referencing, Corey, in a book, The Paradigm Matrix, and maybe Camilla, you could drop in that link, there's a really good chapter in there. I know it's one of your favorites as well, Raul, which is chapter 9 of The Paradigm Matrix. A little bit in the end of chapter 8, but in chapter 9, there's actually a diagram. Actually, maybe I'll see if I can, actually, I'll pull it up here in just a second. So, but Raul, anyway, while I'm pulling it up, anything you want to say on kind of that chapter, that Paradigm Matrix box phenomena?
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I think that's because at the end, it's all about those, you know, delusions or preconceived ideas and precepts, and so that's really and all the charge, right? So when you're really in the red, it's all that stuff that it's outside of your reality, all those unknowns, really. So it's like going from what you know to what you don't know, and that feels really disestabilizing, you know, I would say, and it's a lot of charge, and that's what you feel going up to the red zone.
And this is the end of chapter 8. The next page starts chapter 9. But what I love about this idea is this is exactly what I think I heard from you, Corey, and what I think Raul was illustrating there as well, which is, you know, a lot of people want to play a bigger game, right? Oh, I want to play a bigger game. Great, right? It sounds good. But what does that actually mean, right? What it means is the reason we're not playing that bigger game already is because of what's illustrated. I think Alan does a phenomenal job of illustrating right here. Because what's outside that game we're playing? Well, it's the fear, it's the detachment, it's the isolation, it's the unknowns, the unwanted dreams, goals, visions, uncertainties, unpredictable. It's the delusions, it's the out of control, it's the can't own, can't comprehend, it's the intimidation, it's the beyond hope. It's all of that. It's what we don't want to experience that sits outside our box. And until we're willing to confront that, right? And those are, we could all say fear is probably a red zone mood level, right? Delusion is in the red zone. Out of control is red zone. Triggered past defeats, definitely red zone. Even paradigm crashes, Raul mentioned earlier. Can't own, can't comprehend. That's all red zone. So guess what? If you want to play a bigger game, if I want to play a bigger game, if any of us do, we have to go into the red zone. And we have to be willing to confront that. And we have to be willing to permeate that. And we have to be able to put order into it. And as you do, there's a process to go through the red zone. You put order into it. You increase your literacy, you increase your knowledge, you practice, you increase your skills. And then as you do that, you move up. But as soon as you can move up, go to the yellow zone, to the red zone in one area, we go from the red zone to the yellow zone to the green zone in one area, you kind of have the pattern, and then you can apply it to other areas of your life. So good. Let's see. Camilo put in the Paradigm Matrix books, and I'll just read Diego's comment here. This reminds me of something Alan says in chapter 9. It could be said that all negative or lost life force particles are tied up in past inabilities to control. I think it's important to ask ourselves, as Jeff said, find the area that's troubling us, ask the important questions to find out what we want to know about an area and or where we fail to fully gain control in that area. Raul, what would you add to or expand on what Diego said there?
No, I just love it, because that's pretty, so what I would say on that is and I like that viewpoint, because at least in my experience, the more I resist being in the red zone, or the more I deny being in there, the more I stay in that place. But when I really create a causative way of looking at that, what's the knowledge that I need, what's the ability, then you just move quickly.
Because it's, if you don't recognize, say if you're in the green zone, what do you do if you're in the green zone? You keep doing what you're doing, right? You keep doing what you're doing because it's work. But let's say you're actually in the red zone, but you're deluded and you think you're in the green zone. So if what you're going to do is keep doing what you're doing, but if you're actually in the red zone, you're doing the absolute wrong things. So in the red zone, you can't keep doing what you're doing. You got to find out what's right and what's wrong and sort it out, right? But if you think you're in the green zone, you'll keep doing what you're doing. So you actually apply that green zone existence to the red zone, and actually that keeps you trapped in the red zone. It's the inability. The first step to getting out of the red zone is noticing that you're in it. It's like the first step to solving a problem is admitting you have one. It's kind of like that with the red zone. Like the first step to getting out of it is to noticing that's where you are and to being honest with yourself. Because honesty is the first step out of the red zone.
Yeah, and Jeff, it makes me remind also, it's such a key ability, the ability to be wrong, right? I had many issues in the past in my life just because of the lack of that ability, the ability to be wrong, the ability to say, hey, I don't know, I don't have any idea, I don't have a clue. It's easier to move up, but then when I'm pretending, that I know, or fighting with the people that is actually trying to help me get out of that, well, it just gets worse, right?
Absolutely. Great. All right. So I think we are coming up on time, but let's take a look. Anything else? Any other comments or anything else you guys want to share? And if we don't have anything, I'll read Corey's thing that says the diagram's 294. So yes, if you have the print version, 294. Thank you so much, Corey. And let us know, how did we do? Did we do a good enough job creating a green zone mood level, talking about the red zone? If we did, just go ahead and put Y in the chat for yes. If no, all right, Raul, anything you want to? Thank you, Inger. Thank you, Corey, for your response there. All right. Great, Raul. Anything you want to say as we begin to finish up here?
No, not really. Well, yeah, just and thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Al, Kirst. Just invite you tomorrow because we're gonna be doing a shock handling class. Because if you think about it, the most common reason why someone is really trapped down there, it's really paradigm crash, or a shock. that happen, right? So actually tomorrow we're doing a shock handling class. I think, oh, Corey was with us on Tuesday. So we're gonna do a shock handling class. It's 2 hours, it's for free from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Dallas time in the United States. So feel free to join us, but also you can invite, as many people as you want. I mean, it's for free. It's a free training, and we're gonna go over that, process, 17 questions, and how to handle, that shock, that negativity. The only thing we ask, if you're gonna be participating, or if you invite someone to participate, we just need, you need to have 2 hours of your time, because that really takes 2 hours. It's not just explaining about the process. We actually put you to practice with another partner in the call. So you need 2 hours of your time. You need to be in a private space, right? Because obviously, I mean, if you're practicing with someone else, it would be really useful that you're in a quiet place, in a private space, a good internet connection, and also that you turn on your camera. So that's, the only things that we ask. But feel free to join us tomorrow from 10 a.m. 12 p.m. And also, if you want to invite some friends to be part of it, so you can invite as many people as you want. So, thank you, Camilo. And Camilo has shared the link also right there in the chat. So that would be all from me. So Jeff, anything else you'd like to share?
No, I think that's it. Thank you guys for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And let's go enjoy the red zone and move ourselves up to the yellow and green.
Go up to the green. Not
I
down.
want to move to the red. I want to move up to the red.
There you go, Inger. There you go, Inger.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you.
guys.
Have a great week, guys.
Have a good week.
Bye.